Yes, we are, and we have seen some heavier downpours. We mentioned that there could be some tropical-like downpours with a higher humidity, and we have seen some heavy rain with a few of these storms that have been rolling through. Not everybody's seeing the rain right now. As a matter of fact, much of the area is clear. As we take a look at the radar, you'll be able to see that out towards the west. We've got quite a bit of activity, and some down across North Carolina. There's that heavier cell that produced some heavy rain through parts of Virginia Beach, working its way off towards the east-northeast. Right now, some more moderate rain across southern parts of Camden County, getting ready to cross over the river over in southern Currituck County around Poplar Branch and down towards 158. And then we've got another little cell right here just off the coast of Burgess that is moving through the Albemarle Sound. A little bit more back across western Southampton County. Here's I-95 and Emporia, and here's Franklin just on the edge of your screen. So as you're heading back towards Druryville, Joyner, maybe back towards Bryant's Corner, we've got some of that heavier rain along 58. Again, we have seen the showers and thunderstorms filling in with a daytime heating, popping those showers and storms across Virginia, North Carolina, and much of the eastern seaboard. And we're going to see similar patterns over the next several days where we'll see these showers and thunderstorms firing up late morning into the afternoon. Here's what it looks like through the rest of the evening. Scattered showers, maybe an embedded thunderstorm or two. Temperatures in the 70s through the rest of the evening. Then things wind down pretty much after sunset. Maybe a shower or two tomorrow morning. The better chances will once again come later in the day as that daytime heating gets going. It fuels up the atmosphere, and we see these showers and storms developing. Temperatures tomorrow, low 80s, upper 70s if you're caught under one of these showers or one of these heavier downpours. And there's the potential again tomorrow that we could see a heavier downpour. If you were watching yesterday, we mentioned that some areas might only see 1/4 inch of rain. Other areas might see 4 inches. It just depends if you get caught under one of these downpours. And really, things quiet down Thursday evening and more of the same on Friday. Few showers possible in the morning, better chances through the afternoon as temperatures climb up into the lower 80s. And you can see that same sort of thing out along the Virginia Beach ocean front this morning. We had partly sunny skies. Those clouds would build, a shower or two would roll through, then skies would clear out just a little bit, and then you'd see another heavier downpour come through, and we just saw that one moving through Virginia Beach right now. Temperature coming in at 78 degrees, humidity at 76%, dew point is 70. And we mentioned anytime that dew point gets over 60, you start to feel some of that stickiness. 65, it becomes uncomfortable. We start to get it to the oppressive category around 70 degrees, and the mugginess will remain with us through the rest of the evening and the overnight. Most spots in the 70s to around 80 degrees where we have seen the rain move through. It's dropped temperatures just a bit. 74 out along the Virginia Beach oceanfront right now, dropping back to 70 tonight with scattered showers and thunderstorms, mainly through the evening and the early overnight. Tomorrow, 81, scattered showers and storms. Best chance in the afternoon. Friday, scattered showers and thunderstorms. Best chance in the afternoon, 83 degrees. More of the same on Saturday, 82. Rainfall chances start to tick down just a little bit on Sunday. The temperatures climb to 88 degrees, and then 86 on Monday and Tuesday. Just an isolated shower, thunderstorm. Those rainfall chances tick up a little bit more on Wednesday. So it's not going to rain everywhere every day, but we will certainly see a chance of showers and storms in the area for the next 7 days.